Good evening. This is Henry Dotson, founder of Our Journeys of Faith Life Coaching. And this is Think About It Thursday. I haven't been online for the past month, so it's good to be back. And the reason why is because during the month of August, unfortunately, we lost our oldest grandson, Adam. So he had an injury that took place on August 2nd, and eventually he passed away on August 13th. And then we had his funeral services on August 21st. So it's been a bit, and it's sort of taken us a while to get things back together. So we appreciate your prayers and those things, kind um, words and actions that people have taken to express their condolences and sympathies. And it takes community when you're going through difficult challenges like that. So thanks a lot for what you've done. Um, so getting into our Think About It Thursday, what we have is let's see, taking me a little bit to get into what we were doing. Um, so our Think About It Thursday questions are: um, think about your spiritual preparation for your bout with cancer. So for those who are joining in, or those who haven't, you've forgotten because we've been off for a month. We've been talking about your spiritual journey through cancer. And we started at the beginning, talking about what you might do when you're first, not quite even before diagnosis, but the doctors have said something doesn't look right, and they do some tests, and those tests come back and says that you have cancer. And so we've taken it from there, and we're walking through what that cancer journey is going to look like from a spiritual perspective, not so much the physical and mental and emotional side of things, although those will be the guide. So you'll know where you are in that journey based on your spiritual journey, based on where you are in the physical cancer journey. So where we are here is at that stage where you've gotten the diagnosis, but you haven't started any treatment yet. You're just getting ready to go into that unknown cancer world. And in your spirit, what you need to do as you prepare for that. So, we are talking today that one of the things that we're asking on Think About It Thursday is think about your spiritual preparation for your bout with cancer. Are you moving closer to God as you prepare? Are you getting to know Him better? Are you trusting Him more? So, those are the questions that we want you to think about. And the Monday mindset that we want, obviously, you would guess, is we want you to move closer to God. That's the mindset that you should have as you prepare for your cancer journey, is to move closer to God. And the reason why you want to do that is because it's essential to the outcome of your cancer journey. Moving closer to God means that you're going to know Him better. And the more you know Him, the more you'll trust Him, and you can lean on Him. And so to know Him better means that, and to get closer to Him, well, that means that you have to study His Word, study the Word. You need to meditate on the scriptures that you read to get your own personal insight to them. You also need to pray, and prayer is important. And you also need to continue to grow in your faith in God, because that's going to build up what you need for this journey. Your faith is going to have to grow, but in order for it to grow, you have to know more about God, and you have to move closer to Him, because the closer you are, the more you trust Him. And the more you trust Him, then the more you'll be able to move through this cancer journey from a spiritual perspective in the best way possible. So that is why it's important that you move closer to him. And then we have our Tip Tuesdays. And on Tip Tuesdays, it's one of the good things about it is we find tips or quotes from people who are speaking about things that are related to what we're talking about for the week. So this week, our tip comes from Corey ten Boom, and Corey ten Boom says, "Never be afraid to trust an unknown future to a known God." And for those of you who don't know Corey ten Boom's story, I think I'm getting this right. Now I might be wrong, so let's take this with a grain of salt. If she's the same person that I remember, I didn't do my research today before I got on this podcast, but no, she's not. She's not the person I was thinking of. So I won't go down that road. But she is a woman of faith, and she made this quote. So you're going to go into an unknown future, and we never know what the future is going to have for us, and it's okay to go into that unknown future if you have a known God. And so that's the key, is that we certainly know that on a cancer journey, it is an unknown future. We do not know the what types of treatments or side effects from those. Some of you who may wind up having to go through surgery and not only, let's say, remove the tumors, but they also may remove some part of you that's not a tumor. So you're losing part of your physical body. Some of you are going to go through radiation, for example, and it may have the burning and the side effects of that. And ultimately, if you go through chemo and all of that, you don't know exactly what the future holds for you and how you're going to come out from that. So that is the unknown future that you face, and you know that it is fraught with all sorts of physical, mental, and emotional challenges. So as you move into that unknown future, you can trust in it that it's going to be working for your good, according to Romans 8:28, that all things work for good, together for good, to those who love God and are called according to his purposes. So you can trust in this unknown future that it's going to be for your good if you have a known God. And that's why you need to move closer to God. You won't be able to do that if you don't know him. So you need to move closer so that you can have trust in that future, regardless of what the physical outcome of your cancer journey is, that you have to be able to trust the journey, trust that future that you're going to walk into. Then we have our Wisdom Wednesdays. And Wisdom Wednesdays is when we pick scriptures that, again, are related to what we're talking about and this idea of moving closer to God. So we have scripture that backs that up. And this week, we actually have two scriptures. Normally, we just have one, but there's so many scriptures that fit what we're talking about that I thought that one was not enough. And they're fairly short, but I wanted to put them both in. So the one is, let me move on to it. One is, let me make sure I got the right one here. Okay. Yes. There we go. The next one is draw near to God and he will draw near to you. So it's not just an effort that you have to take on your own. If you move, you have to take the first step, but God will move towards you also. So you're not in it alone. You're not trying to find him without some of his assistance. Actually, if you really look at it, he's the one that has put the unction in your spirit to look for him in the first place. And just because it's in your spirit and in your mind that that's something that you should do, it really doesn't matter unless you actually move in that direction. You have to do something. So if you move towards God, you draw near to him, then he will draw near to you. And that's what the scripture says in James 4:8. The other one is, we find it in Psalm 63:1, and it says, "O God, you are my God. Earnestly I seek you. My soul thirsts for you. My flesh faints for you, as a dry and weary land where there is no water." And I just thought about that for a moment. And the reason why I thought that was so apropos for what we're talking about this evening is when it talks about the flesh. It says, "My flesh faints for you." And it gives the analogy as in a dry and weary land where there is no water. And I thought, what better analogy for what your body goes through in a cancer journey? It's a dry and weary land. There are parts that there's no effective life going on there, and you're in search of water. So you have this thirst that's within you, and so you need to satisfy that thirst by searching for God, by going out there and looking for him. So we want you to move closer to him in that sense. And so that brings us back again to our Think About It Thursday questions. So think about your spiritual preparation for your bout with cancer. Are you moving closer to God as you prepare? Or are you preparing everything else except for the most important thing, which is moving closer to God? And that reminds me of when people say, we do much more planning for going on a vacation or taking some type of a trip or something project at work, or we put a lot of effort into planning all those kinds of things, but we don't plan to do the things we need to take care of ourselves. So as you're moving close, as you are preparing for your bout with cancer, aside from preparing all of the financial, the insurance, where you're going to go, what doctor you get, and all those necessary things, are you also moving closer to God? The second question is, are you getting to know him better? And there's sort of two sides of the same coin. In order to move closer, you have to know him. And as you know him, you will get closer. So they both work hand in hand. And then when you know him better, and you'll know him because of his scriptures, the scriptures also give you the promises of God. And so when you know the promises of God, and you know that he is not a man so that he cannot lie, so you know that these promises are true, that is what builds up your faith and also builds up your trust. You know you can trust God because of what he says in his word, and his promises are true. But you can't do that if you don't know his scripture, if you don't know his word, if you don't meditate on his word. So that is what you need to do, and that is what it means to move closer to God. So we're down to our last minute of the podcast. So at this point, I want to make a little bit of an announcement. We're going to have a scheduling change moving forward. Instead of this taking place at 6 p.m. Pacific time, we're moving it a half an hour earlier. So moving forward, this Think About It Thursday time will start at 5:30 Pacific time and end at 5:45. So hopefully it will not cause you any problems with your scheduling, and it won't conflict with other things that you're doing before 6. But it makes it a little more convenient for the other things that we're doing. Hopefully this is the only time we have to do that. But until next week at 5:30, we'll see you then. Take care and God bless. Bye-bye.